Hi, before we get to our guests and the jokes tonight, I want to take a moment because, as you know, we had another school shooting today.
Jimmy Kimmel knows what's best for America. And more importantly, he knows what's best for your kids. He used his talk show platform again to imply that we all need our guns taken away from us, which they call common sense gun regulations, as the typical leftist statist knee-jerk reaction just because some lunatic allegedly decided to go on a killing spree. And I say allegedly because, come on, let's be real. Mainstream news has mastered the art of deceiving us for so long that to believe one word that comes out of their mouths would categorize us as prime candidates for the nearest mental facility. Of course, Kimmel, as always, takes advantage of his large-scale audience because he wants you to buy into the dog and pony show, my politicians are better than your politicians game. And he uses the evil NRA, Trump, and the Republicans as fall guys again.
This time in Santa Fe, Texas, at least 10 people were killed, 10 people are wounded, mostly high school kids.
Now keep something in mind as you watch this guy. You're looking at a multi-millionaire Hollywood star who is guarded every day by armed security. So he's protected. Matter of fact, you can't even get into the Jimmy Kimmel Live studio where he's currently standing unless you go through metal detectors. So if you're a high school kid, where would you be more safe? In a high school or in Jimmy Kimmel's studio?
And once again, our leaders...
Our leaders? In our culture, there's this foregone conclusion that every individual in America has a leader. As Kimmel and people like him keep talking, you find that they don't just mean leaders, they mean rulers, controllers, governors, or lawmakers. This is a fiction that we all need to divorce and distance ourselves from. No one has a legitimately higher claim over your life or property than you. There is no ruler in your life who has the legitimate moral right to rule you, and you don't have the legitimate moral obligation to obey anybody. So Jimmy, like most Americans, have been brainwashed into thinking that we have rulers over us, and we don't.
And once again, our leaders are sending their thoughts and prayers. President Trump said he is with the people of Santa Fe in this tragic hour and will be with them forever. Except for when it comes time to do something, then he will not be with them. And neither will any of the congresspeople or governors who don't ever do anything because they're fearful that will hurt them politically. They know the truth. They know this has gone too far, but they're too cowardly to do the right thing.
And what do you think the right thing is in Jimmy's book? We all know that public schools, which are mostly gun-free zones, are target-rich environments for any would-be killer. But I bet that to Jimmy, the right thing is not instituting a single point entry into all schools. Further, I bet the right thing for Jimmy is not getting rid of gun-free zones where over 98% of all mass murders occur. And even further, I bet to Jimmy, the right thing is not closing down the failed public school system and the corrupt, money-sucking, wildly unsuccessful Department of Education.
They care more about the support of the NRA than they do about children.
Now, you guys know that I am not a fan of the NRA. I've covered this in previous videos on my Terminated channel, but the NRA's Wayne LaPierre admits that they are the ones who initiated and helped pass the implementation of the NICS instant background check system, which is a clear violation of the Second Amendment that they claim to hold so dear.
Let's talk about what's reasonable and what's not. We think it's reasonable to provide mandatory instant criminal background checks for every sale at every gun show. No loopholes anywhere for anyone.
The best kept secret is that the National Instant Check System wouldn't exist at all if it weren't for the NRA. It's true. Back in the 90s, President Clinton forced passage of a mandatory waiting period on every handgun purchased in America. Not a background check, a wait. But NRA said as soon as the technology was available, their wait had to be replaced by an instant background check done by the dealer at the point of sale. NRA supported it, NRA got the votes, and NRA got it passed.
So if you're honest with yourself and you really want a no-nonsense, pro-Second Amendment, no-compromise gun group, you'll go with the Gun Owners of America.
Only no compromise gun group in Washington.
They're tougher than the NRA, aren't they?
That's right.
The NRA is bad, really bad. Gun Owners of America is even worse than bad.
We do not support gun control. We do not support gun control fully loaded. We do not support gun control light. We have opposed every gun control at the federal level.
The NRA is actually covertly against the Second Amendment while they claim to be for it. So Second Amendment trampling people like Kimmel always slamming the NRA, which in a sense is on Kimmel's side as far as background infringement checks are concerned, is just another convoluted aspect of the dog and pony distraction and deception that's going on.
So they sit there with their hands in their pockets that are full of gun money, and they do nothing. They just wait for the outrage to pass because it didn't happen to their children. There's only one way to look at this. How would you feel and what would you do if these were your children who were killed today?
Personally, I'd feel pretty damn mad at myself for not seeing the handwriting on the wall and pulling my kid out of a situation where he's a freaking sitting duck while he's being indoctrinated in a government-funded, taxpayer-supported institution that trains him to submit to violence-initiating so-called authorities.
The truth about our democracy is that the people don't make laws. We vote for those who do.
The truth about our democracy is that it's not a freaking democracy. America was originally set up as a constitutional representative republic. Apparently, these people were just mouthing the words of Bellamy's socialist mantra when they said the Pledge of Allegiance. It ends with, "and to the republic," not the democracy for which it stands. I don't think these people could get any more clueless if you paid them. Oh, wait. They do pay him to be clueless and spread misinformation.
So the least you can do is register to vote right now. I mean, the only way we can make any meaningful impact on this epidemic is to make sure we vote for politicians who will do something.
What a great idea. Let's vote for more politicians. Because, we see how well that's worked out in the past for us to get the most corrupt, the most vile, the most dishonest, the most narcissistic, the most greedy, the most power-hungry control freaks on the planet and put them into positions of power. Yeah, that's worked out really well. The insanity of this statement is off the hook. The voting booth is nothing more than the slave's suggestion box. When you cast a vote, you're saying, "I want this megalomaniac to rule over me and tell me what to do and penalize me if I don't obey his commands." What a great idea! I struggle to think of any action more foolish than voting in a rigged election for immoral people to rule over me, steal my money, and throw me into a cage if I disobey their arbitrary edicts.
Our leaders right now seem to think everything is fine. It isn't fine. This kind of thing doesn't happen in countries that have real, sensible gun laws. I don't know about you, but I, for one, am very, very tired of this.
What I'm tired of is people like this insulated, heavily guarded millionaire getting up before an audience of millions on a globalist-funded station telling us that we need to be more restricted and penalized because of the alleged actions of a few murderous psychopaths. Guys, this kind of insanity has to stop with us. It's time we stand together in an act of civil disobedience and assert our natural rights as individuals to not be ruled by another person. Jimmy Kimmel is a statist who's doing his best to take away your right to own whatever you want to own as an individual, and he's attempting to make you feel bad about taking advantage of that basic human right. Guys, don't forget to take a second to go to the highimpactflix.com website and subscribe if you want to see more of my content. One way or another, we're going to fight censorship. Hopefully, the people at YouTube will get their heads out of their asses long enough to realize that thinking people on their platform aren't going to tolerate their tyrannical tactics for much longer. But I wouldn't hold my breath. Guys, if you like what we're doing here on this demonetized, censored channel and you want to support the effort, the Patreon, PayPal, and Bitcoin links are below. If you want to support the channel by grabbing a shirt or two, check out the new in-your-face designs like Black Rifles Matter escape from California, taxation is legalized theft, and sheep pollution. I'm adding new designs every week, and I do take design requests, so check back often. Thank you guys for subscribing, watching, sharing, and especially for all your kick-ass, thoughtful comments. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored, demonetized video.
Take a ride on the wild side.